And we are live.
We
Hey
are
guys!
live. Look who's
Hey,
back.
hey.
The third
Look who's
musketeer
back.
who's been living her best life in
I feel you.
Ghana. She forgot
Yes.
about us
Can you
because
see
she's
her
living up
skin
her
glowing?
in there.
Like I'm sweating right now. It's so hot. I just cannot. But I'm happy that I'm here, guys. Back with you. I only missed one episode there, so
Yeah, to be honest, it hasn't been a lot. Yeah, it could have been worse.
yeah,
It could
it
have been
just feels
worse.
like it because we don't do
Yeah.
that whole sort of one person missing often. So
Yeah.
But how are you guys? Let's do a quick catch up. I mean, I know you guys. We're doing a weekly episodes now.
We are. Goodness.
Yeah.
Whew.
And people are loving it. The people are loving
appreciating
it.
the dedication.
Let's give the people what they want. They want
True.
weekly episodes. Let's give it to them. They're loving it. So
Yeah.
It's true.
But
But
yeah.
how you guys doing? How's the pandemic? That's not even long.
This lockdown.
Then I'll leave that to you because, quite frankly, I'm over
for
it.
me, I'm very, very angry because I feel like people aren't taking it seriously. And the more people don't take it seriously, the longer we're going to be in this situation for. So, I mean, I've heard that the restrictions are going to get even tighter. I heard it on the news today.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
I saw that too, actually, yeah, because the PM fears that people aren't taking it seriously. Well, I don't blame, but it's true, people aren't, but I kind of don't blame them because we've literally, it's been literally an emotional roller coaster for the past year. So I get why people are over it now. I know we shouldn't be over it, but
no, but I don't buy that. In a way, I
Mm-hmm.
understand it because I think not in general, like we're talking about like worldwide, we're talking about the UK and the government of the UK have handled it. Look at New Zealand, look at your age mates. Just what I'm saying.
Look at China. Apparently they're down to 0 cases.
Exactly. New Zealand are the same. Like they did what was necessary from the absolute beginning. They didn't have no halfway break, eat out to help out. They didn't do any of that. It was literally we need to do what we need to do until the end of the year, and bada bing, bada boom. That's it. Just I was like, everyone because it was right at the start. Everyone didn't mind staying home, but at this point, it's like you had an opportunity to do this properly from the start, and you didn't.
Exactly.
The fact that only now, as in like just this past week, you have to get tested to come into the UK is ridiculous. Like
it's ridiculous.
I still can't believe
because they're still trying to preserve their economy. Don't forget that.
But so is every other country. What makes them different to any other country? Just what I'm saying. Look at China.
You know what it is? I think they have some sort of. I think England has some sort of hidden deal that they've signed or something with a country that has made them lose their minds because nothing they're doing is actually making any logical sense. Why are people still being allowed to travel out and in?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What will it kill you if you just stop the travels for a month? Will it really kill you? Like so. It's just not making any sense. I know 2 people
that are coming to Ghana. Like one's coming next week, and one's coming next month.
You see,
people are still traveling.
It's crazy.
It makes no sense.
But to be honest, like here in Ghana,
how's Ghana like?
It's business as usual, but I don't think that's okay. Like this year, me being here, I didn't do enjoyment as much as I did last year. I didn't
I've noticed. I mean, you've done enjoyment, but it hasn't been like
especially nightlife. I've only been out once nightlife, literally. Like I haven't. So I've been here for almost 3 months now. So I'm just being more careful because like everyone's coming here and they're coming here to escape restrictions. They don't have no like consideration for corona or anything like that. So people have been enjoying. I think it was like just the 7th of January. From the 7th, they said that cases have spiked quite a lot, which is obviously because people have been enjoying. People have still put on events. People have put on.
I've been seeing snaps. Didn't NSG open up a whole bar? They've opened a whole bar in Ghana.
So you've got like beach clubs and all this kind of stuff. Like what they do, they have like 10 days from Christmas of like beach clubs and parties and all this stuff. So people are really enjoying the usual. And you look at people snap. No one's wearing a mask. No one's like. I went to the one place I went to. It was called Upfest, and the idea was so sick. Like it was genius because basically this guy he made the event around COVID, and you had your own table, and each table normally what they would do is have like a big pool. Each table had their own pool, like it was a built-in mini
pool.
Yeah. So in my table,
it
had like a built-in pool, so you could enjoy. Everyone had their own pool. Some people were there like in their bikinis and stuff, so you didn't have to mix in with people, and it was really ideal. But everything else is everyone's merged. People are packed in places like Sardinia. I'm just like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. So, but the thing is with young people is that they're less considerate. If it's a few things. If they have it, and they don't have any symptoms, they most likely won't say anything. They're not going to tell anyone.
They won't.
That's just really wicked. Dangerous. I feel like that's
really
it's a case where they still want to enjoy and they don't want people to kind of look at them funny, like, oh, you have COVID type thing.
Like
just putting someone else at risk.
My friend sent me this like screenshot of someone on Snapchat, and they were like at this party, and someone messaged him like, didn't you just test positive for COVID? He was like, yeah, but I feel fine. And he was literally at a party with these people. This was not in Ghana, but this was like with some white guy.
People don't understand that it's contagious.
I'm so sorry, but people like that need to get arrested. Honestly, I have no mercy. I'm at the point where I have 100%. No mercy for people.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, so
this is so funny because usually Jen is all nice, and Jen's like, no, I'm not having it.
But do you know why? Because I'm seeing it from the other side as well. Like a lot of my patients,
on the front line, you're on the front line.
Like I'm seeing my patients dying basically. People aren't taking it seriously. I think penalties, and I know they started handing it out, but more penalties need to be handed out. The same way that they keep giving me a penalty for parking, do the same thing for people who are outside doing nothing.
No, I agree. So yeah, it's been that I've just been. If anything, I go out to eat or stuff like that. But
no, it looks lit though.
It does.
I mean,
hopefully I'll go this year. No, I do have FOMO. I won't lie.
It's definitely the place to be. It really, really, really is. Especially like this time of year. There's so much to do, and everyone's in a good mood. So it's nice. But anything is like you get. Nice. If people know that you're a tourist, you'll probably get ripped off quite a lot. But that's
same in Nigeria. In Nigeria, at least I can like put on a Nigerian accent and try and blend in. But in Ghana, I'll have to just go around with someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Go around with a citizen.
It's been okay. So my birthday's on Sunday. Well, actually, by the time this comes out, it's my birthday. Yeah.
Oh yes. So, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm like, we're 28. Like, I'm like, ugh. But at the same time, I'm like, definitely I feel quite sober because I think like I think only just now I'm really getting to that point in my life where I'm like super comfortable. I think that happened at 27. So like where I'm just like, it's just like, I don't care what you think, this is my life kind of thing.
Yeah. I saw the tweet that you put out, like you think you know yourself around like 24, 25.
Yeah, do you know what? I thought I did at 25, 26. But when I turned 27, I don't know, something clicked. And I remember having a conversation with like a lot of my friends, even guys, and they were saying the same thing, that it's not that you don't know yourself, but there's a confidence that just hits you when you get to that part where you're going into your later 20s.
Yeah.
That like you just never had before. So I think I'm just kind of there. I'm just like, you know what? It's AJ now, but a number, maybe. So, but I'm excited to be 30. I'm genuinely excited to be 30. So 2 more years.
Do you know what you're doing?
On Sunday, I'm just going to like it's a place called Sandbox. I've been there before. I don't know if you guys have seen it on my Snap. It's literally a restaurant that's right in front of the beach. So the beach is like right there. So I'm just gonna go there and grab some food with my friends, and then I want to spend a couple days away, just like further out of, like, just not out of Accra, but still in Accra, but a bit further out, with the Mister, and then that's it.
The Mister. I was gonna say something, but I was waiting for you to say it first.
I know. Our girl got a man.
I was single, like
literally.
And look at you now. Listen,
our girl went to Ghana and found a bae.
I know it's like weird because it just never expected it. Like coming to Ghana, I've had conversations with you guys about
literally like, your headspace wasn't even there. You were kind of like over it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So
and I genuinely feels like that's when it comes, when you're kind of in
when
the
you least expect it.
When you least expect it and when you're not looking for it. And I know it sounds cliche, but that's the reality.
No, honestly it does. So he's a cool guy. So we're just trying to enjoy it, obviously, because eventually he's gonna have to be long distance. So it's gonna be quite hard, but just trying to make the most of our time, really. And met him through my friend, and then we just got along. So we'll see how.
Well, you guys look lovely together.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You do, girl. Episode 10.
Nice. Oh my pod. We gotta do it. Oh my pod.
Oh my pod.
All right, let's start with
Oh yeah. It is you. It is you.
So I think my pod is nothing like oh my gosh, but I just wanted to have a conversation about it because I think I spoke to you about it, Jen, about Kim and Kanye getting divorced, and then I was saying to Shani today that LaToya Luckett just announced that she's getting a divorce as well, and she had been married for.
Oh wait, this is news to me.
Yeah.
When you told me, I was just like, oh wow, like when did this happen?
She's been married for 3 years, but I heard last year that her husband was unfaithful to her. And I noticed on her, like, I follow her on Instagram, I noticed that she wasn't posting him really anymore on her Instagram. It was just more so her, and they literally just had a baby. So apparently she was pregnant while he cheated on her. So like I don't know. I think my thing is not necessarily like, oh, it's a newsworthy that these people are getting divorced, because they've only been married 3 years. Like that it may feel like a lifetime to them, maybe because of everything they went through. I know, like, not long after they married, maybe a year, his mum died as well. So they'll probably go through a lot of stuff. But like, I think Kim and Kanye, 7 years they've been married for.
It's been a long time.
6, 7 years.
Marriages don't, like, what is going on? Like,
well, they're not lasting long.
They're
not lasting
days. I don't know, because obviously we've spoken about this before, about like the balance between our parents sticking things out, but sometimes they did stay in toxic situations just to save face, or because it was less accepted in their days and grandparents. But I just feel like people have stopped trying. I'm not judging the divorce, if that makes sense.
I feel like with Kim and Kanye, I do understand, because she has, from what it looks like, she has tried, and obviously he's bipolar, he's got a condition, it's not necessarily all his fault. But, you know, at some point, especially with having 4 kids, enough is enough. And she needs to take care of herself, and for the sake of her mental health and her kids' well-being as well.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear that about Kim and Kanye. I think my thing is with Kim and Kanye is everyone goes to Kanye's mental health first. And I think everyone kind of focuses on Kanye, like, oh, they go straight to his mental health. And to be honest, let's be real, guys, anyone that has gone into that Kardashian family comes back out a hot mess. That's just my
this is the longest time.
Yeah, no, it
lasted. I'm even surprised they lasted this long.
Yeah, because same. Like, I'm not trying to say that they didn't have their issues before, because I feel like Kanye was going on a slippery slope from when his mum died. He was kind of like, you know, he was struggling. But I do feel like being married into the Kardashian family is hard, because they are strong-willed women, very strong-willed. So I don't necessarily just think it's Kanye. Obviously, a lot of things that all these breakdowns you've had, and it must be very hard for Kim having 4 children and stuff like that. But I do feel like it's not just Kanye. And
I'm sure there are other factors.
That's my thing. So obviously the Toya Lockett's situation is a bit different, because if he was unfaithful, that, you know, especially when someone's pregnant, to me that's the lowest thing you can do, is cheat on your wife while she's pregnant. Sorry.
And you know what, I hear a lot about women cheating on their wives when they're pregnant, and I'm wondering if it's because maybe men. Sorry, what did I say? Women.
You said women.
Awkward. Sorry, I meant men cheating on their wives, and I think it's maybe it's because of the lack of sex, or their body's changing. Maybe they're tired more. I'm not making excuses for them at all. But I'm just saying that that's probably why there is so. And I still think it's wrong. I think it is inhumane. Like, she's literally carrying a child.
Same thing that happened with Chloe and Tristan. You know. Kevin Hart and his wife. It's just like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. So I don't know. My thing is just like, obviously people have divorces for different reasons and stuff like that. But I don't know, it's just disheartening to see like this generation marriage is not lasting as long, you know. And I think, again, one side of it is that especially us as women, we take a lot less BS these days. Like, we really stand up for ourselves, and we're not
pick-me's. Do you know that reminds me of Audrey from the Receipts podcast? She tweeted something the other day. You must have seen it. It was even on the Shea Bar.
What did she tweet?
So she basically said something along the lines of, I really rate the girls of nowadays. They're all younger than me, but they inspire me because they say what they say and they mean it. She was just like, back in my days, we were pick-me's. We would say what we wanted to say for man. So they just wanted man to acknowledge them. But nowadays, girls will not stand it. We are strong-willed now. And she said that you lot actually inspire me, even though she's like mid-30s and she's probably talking about girls our age, mid-20s. But she was just like, you lot inspire me. And that just showed me that I really feel like there's been a shift.
For sure.
I think that
there has.
The more the generation goes on, is the
less tolerant.
But I would say, the more the generations go on, I think is the more like even if you just look at the way our generation handled things this year in regards to standing up for things and justice and etc., like seeking justice for things. It was our generation, whether it was whether it was
because how long has all of these issues been going on? Years, but it's now that we're not having it. We're not having it. Even in Korea, in the workplace, millennials are literally people are saying that millennials are changing the way things are going.
And everything is publicized as well. Don't forget. So there's no hiding. Can't hide 100%. From cheating. You can't hide from injustice. I mean, obviously, it still happens behind closed doors, but
sorry to put. I know this is an my pod. This is a number 2. I was in and out because these days I don't really use Clubhouse like that. But this room yesterday.
Don't get me started. What was it about?
There was this room. I don't know I can't remember what the room was about. But it was about. But a guy came on and basically said. It was about side chick, I think.
Yeah.
And a guy basically came on and said that he admitted that he's cheated on his wife, like now in the present. And it got very political very quickly.
Was it American?
No, he was a British guy. And
wow.
2 people, the part I came in at, which was absolutely hilarious, was 2 girls. Bearing in mind, this room had about 2,000 people, which so for him only 2 people doing something is actually quite good. 2 people went on his Instagram, found his wife and DM'd his wife while this was all happening. So then he came back on because he left. He came back on and was like, to whoever DM'd my wife, F you, this that, like going in. So then the girls were like, the moderators were like, okay, so what happened? Your wife was DM'd, like what happened? He was like, I'm not even going to go into it. Like, so it sounded like he was insinuating that he saw the DMs and he deleted them before his wife saw them. That's what it sounded like.
Oh, right.
So I don't think his wife, because when they asked him, does your wife know? He was like, no, she doesn't know. And they were like, hold on. So if they DM,
that is sneaky.
And then he was just
that's
like,
very sneaky.
He was like, F you guys, whatever. And then he just left. And the moderators were like, what did we do? Like, you're the one that came on here.
Well, she's going to find out anyway. So
like, you're in a room full of 2,000 people telling them about how you're cheating on your wife and you think she's not going to find out.
The moderators think, and I believe that he two things for me. He was even lying about the whole story and he just wanted like to cause some like, whatever commotion in the room.
So sad.
Secondly, if he is cheating, he did want his wife to find out, because you don't go into a room with 2,000 strangers,
and tell them that.
2,000 room Clubhouse is not a safe space. You do not know these people. So for you to go in there, you wanted your wife to find out. Like, anyways, Clubhouse I don't go on there.
It's literally just. It's horrible. I preferred it back in November.
That's exactly.
And why are like a lot of these conversations are so late at night?
Yes.
I'm hearing
people have no, seriously, I've been on rooms during the Christmas holidays. I was in rooms where it was literally lasting till like 3-4 a.m. That's when the heat of the conversation was, and I thought, okay, cool, it's Christmas, people aren't working, whatever. But now I'm just like, do you not have lives? Like, I genuinely cannot put my head around it. But that isn't on my podcast.
To me, Clubhouse feels like a Backchat London now. That's what it feels like.
It just feels like toxic Twitter conversations that have been brought from Twitter. Now we're just hearing Twitter voices.
But,
that's what it is.
Mind you, there are some like good groups on there that
you have to really sift through. You have to really sift through.
Like now the rooms that get the traction are the toxic rooms, and I don't like that. It was never ever like that.
It just goes to show a lot. I mean,
Anywho,
we are continuing with a topic that we felt was actually quite good, and we did say we were going to do a part 2. So here we are, we're here, and we are doing a part 2 on the episode that we did regarding virginity and sex,
relationships,
and all that. Oh
my God!
So like. I know if we could quickly do a quick synopsis of what we covered the last episode, because I feel like that would help people just to kind of keep track. So I think from myself, I spoke about losing my virginity at 13. And I know me and myself, Sade can speak for herself as well, but we both shared the sentiment of like how we giving ourselves to the wrong people, like how that caused us to kind of behave out of character a lot of the time. And do things that we didn't feel were natural to us, and that attachment that we get when we are physically intimate with someone. Go listen to the episode if you haven't listened to it. But those are just a few things. Sade, do you want to speak about what else you covered?
Yeah, so what stood out to me in that episode is how Bianca literally just asked us, "Are you virgins?"
Yeah. I mean, that
we were all like,
God.
For real. I was just like, whoa, are we going there? But then I remembered that we promised you guys vulnerability, transparency, honesty, integrity.
Exactly.
So that's what we're going to deliver. So yeah, so I spoke about that. I spoke about my virginity and how I lost it and what happened in that situation, how it made me feel, and the effects it still has on me today, actually.
Yeah.
So that was a great episode. Go listen to it if you haven't. It was called, what was it called again? I'm a Virgin at 25.
25, which leads on to my bit.
Yes, to Jen,
which,
yes.
I spoke about being 25 and still a virgin. And yeah, like just what comes with that, the good and the bad. And what was really great, like even after the episode, like a lot of people did reach out to me privately, like saying, oh, thank you so much for speaking about this. I'm going through the same thing, or even through our own
Jen, I didn't know that.
DMs as well. Yeah. And do you know what? Because initially I thought, oh my gosh, like what? There's still a part of me that's like, oh, what are people going to say? Is it like a taboo? Like imagine being a virgin is a taboo. But yeah, it was just really nice to hear like people connecting with us in that way. So of course we had to do another.
We did. And we even had, a girl DM us this week, actually. Early this week or late. No, sorry, this week just started late last week. She was just like, oh my gosh, I just listened to the episode, girls. It was amazing. When are you going to do part 2? And I was like, do you know what? Right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's do it. Because
let's do it. There's no perfect time to do it. Let's just do it.
Exactly. No, exactly. So I know the last time we did like just touch on when it comes to like virginity and abstinence, when it comes to faith and when it comes to spirituality. And obviously not everyone that listens to us may be a Christian. Some people may be Muslim, some people may be atheists. There's all kinds of people, but I definitely think that this is an approach that we have to address, especially because all of us we are of faith. And I also feel like, there were I think there's so many different perspectives to look at it from. And I think this is quite a big one, because I think a lot of our listeners actually are Christians as well. So I think this definitely has to be a subtopic that we focus on and we hone in on. I mean, my question actually is, and this is to Sade, to you and I, because obviously, actually, no, it's to all of us. Because obviously you did say, Jennifer, in the last episode that even though you haven't had sex, you've done other physical, done other things. And so it would be good to ask the question of, because I think this is a really important thing to address when it comes to like sex and stuff like that, or physical, like being sexual, is how much guilt do you feel when, or conviction do you feel when you do something sexual with a man? Like, do you feel, does that guilt come? Does that conviction come? Does condemnation come? Do you feel like, or is it a thing where, depending on who it is, or if, say, for example, if they're your boyfriend or if there's someone you're seeing, you're kind of just in your element for a while until something happens and knocks you back into reality? Because that's happened to me a few times, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? You're kind of just like, and then something happens and you're like, God, I'm so sorry. So what? Like,
that's so bad, but it's so true.
No, but it's just the reality. Like,
it happens. Yeah.
Sade, have you felt that? Like, let me know.
How's
that been with your faith?
I've definitely felt that guilt 100%. Especially when it's been with people who I know I don't see a future with, and this is probably not going to amount to anything and knowing that, so that just even made me feel extra guilty, because I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? And in the moment it feels great. It's just like, you're just doing it, but then it's after when reality actually hits. A lot of the time it wasn't even necessarily my faith, like it was just like, it was more of a reality check, like this just didn't need to happen. It could just kind of feel like a race.
Exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
I was
So
say.
yeah, funny enough, it wasn't so much, oh, you know, I'm sinning, I'm this, I'm that. Like, yes, that was definitely a part of it, but it was not the main, it wasn't my main guilt.
I think for me, it wasn't like, I wasn't saying God, I'm sorry, as in, it sounds bad to say, but it wasn't God, I'm sorry because of like, oh, I've had sex, but it's more so like for even wasting my time with this person. Do you know what I'm saying? And sometimes
of a body count.
Also in general and more, because let's be honest, like none of us, each of us have our own paths and the way we live our lives at the end of the day. I think when, no matter what you do or who you are, I think more so it's, for me, the guilt came in when I felt like that person fully distracted me from God. If that makes sense. So even if we are having sex, but like, or we have had sex, but I still feel a connection to God somehow, because God doesn't won't dash you away if you do one thing that he doesn't necessarily like. So it's a thing where the guilt was more so like, I've literally forgotten about you and I've been caring about mine. Just what I'm saying. That's where the guilt would come from. But Sade, like, what's your perspective on I mean, Jen first, like, have you...
Oh yeah,
the same question
guilt
I said to Sade. Like, where's your... Have you ever felt any, like... Have you ever been knocked back into reality when it comes to your faith, when it comes to being, like, sexual with someone?
Not necessarily. And I say this because... I don't know if this is the right way to think as well, but I always place, like, sex up there. So if I'm not engaging in sex, not to say that if you are, it's bad. It doesn't feel as extreme to me.
I know
compared to if I like, you know, kiss someone or, you know, do other things with other, you know, with people. But yeah, as long as I haven't had sex, then it's almost like it's fine. That's how I was thinking before. I mean, now, I'm not too sure. I'm kind of with Sade. Like, I don't know if I automatically think, oh, my faith. It's more like, oh, is this the person I'm going to be with forever? I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to give away something, you know, give someone that special part of me without actually being with them forever. So that's my main thing.
And then another thing, just being really honest as well, my thing was like, oh my gosh, will people talk? This was especially in uni. Where I moved a bit mad after my breakup, and I just felt, you know, when you feel like, oh, you can cheat on me, cool, I'm gonna kind of get my own back, even though it's not really getting him back, because he wasn't gonna care, but it was more like, I can do what I want now. No one's gonna stop me. I'm a boss babe too. I can do all of this too, but really no, because it just, there's double standards. It doesn't work like that. But I had the insecurity of, oh my gosh, are people talking about me? Are they gonna say Sade's a hoe, Sade's this, Sade's that? That also made me feel very guilty. Yeah, especially because uni, the community is so small.
Shame, and that doesn't belong. Context, that doesn't belong, because at the end of the day, the same people that are saying they are doing their things, they just haven't been cool, or they haven't been, you know what
exactly.
I mean? So it's that shame doesn't belong anyhow, no matter how many people you have slept with or haven't slept with. Shame
I definitely felt that shame. 100%.
But I was gonna ask you a question, Sade, and this, because this is also like, this is quite personal. It's not about you going into detail, but for people who are in relationships, I do want to talk about this. While we're on the topic of like faith and stuff like that, I know you have some things to contribute to this subtopic. Like, for people who are in relationships, like, what advice would you give them about sex, about trying not to have sex,
like
if they do have sex, what they're like, hello?
Hey.
Sorry, a message came up saying about the meeting has a time limit, so I was confused.
Oh, it hasn't come up for me, you know.
Okay, that's weird. But yeah, so I'll just start again. So Sade, so for you, obviously I do want to talk about people that have relationships that are Christians, or even if you're Muslim, whatever it is, like whatever faith you are, if you're Buddhist, and obviously we're talking now from a Christian perspective, because that you are a Christian. Being in a relationship, what advice, like, how, as much as you can talk about it because it's quite personal, what advice, or what can you say about like how, what advice would you give to people about kind of like navigating through that journey of
when it comes to
having
sex,
whether they're having sex, whether they're not having sex, like what from your own experience with what you can
So for me, I'm such a big advocate on abstinence, celibacy, because because I've been in both positions where I am engaging in, you know, sexual activity, and then I'm not, and I've kind of seen the difference. And then also I didn't want to come from a perspective of, oh, it's a sin, you know, having sex before marriage is a sin, and then there's soul ties and all of that. So, you know, I reached out to certain people who could actually offer me some practical advice that I wanted to kind of, you know, share in this episode. So hopefully it helps people. I'm not an expert at all. I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I still make, you know, mistakes. But there are so many reasons to wait until marriage to have sex. There are so many reasons. We think that everyone is doing it, but everyone is not doing it, and we'll come on to that because, you know, the whole about Dorothy and all of that, but we'll come on to that. But I was reading an article about 10 reasons not to have sex before marriage, right? And I really liked this because he wasn't, the writer wasn't necessarily coming from a you know, it's a sin, it's that. It was very practical reasons. And it was like anyone can relate, whether you're atheist, whether you're Buddhist, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, you can relate. So I'll just kind of read out a few of the points he made that I really resonated with. And then whatever you feel like you want to do with the advice is up to you individually in your relationship, whatever works for you. But the first one is about sex masks problems. Now, let's be real. When you engage in some sort of sexual activity,
the word is stigmatized, okay? That's the word.
Stigmatized.
That's
the word. Let's be real. We've all kind of done, we've all done things that are a bit questionable because of the dick. Let's be real. When I look back on some of the things I did, the way the places I traveled to when I was not even driving because of
the money spent.
The money spent, sis. Should we talk about the money spent? Let's not even go there because it's actually embarrassing.
No, that's it. It's too painful. It's too painful.
So the first one is about it masks problems, and it does. Let's be real, because when sex is in the equation, you won't kind of see your partner for what they are. You kind of see them for what you can almost get from them. And if there are real issues that you guys need to deal with, sex just kind of covers that, because you have sex and then in your head everything is kind of fine, but really no, it's not. So that was the first thing he mentioned. Then he was like, sex connects us, which it does. If we look, there's a hormone release called oxytocin, all of that, you know, you can Google it and do some more research of that. I mean, Jen, you would know, you're an expert here on, you know, the whole science and stuff. But yeah, and that's literally a hormone that makes us women attached to men, which is why friends with benefits, I just don't believe it can work, because I've spoken to people that have friends with benefits, and if that guy was to move on and get a girlfriend, they would feel type of way. Let's be real with ourselves. And it's just like, do we want those kind of problems, you know? So although that's not necessarily relevant to maybe people in a relationship, it's still very much emphasizes that sex connects you in deeper ways. And especially if you don't see yourself with this person for a long term, do you know what I mean? You're just masking those problems.
And it's because of that, like, that's the main reason for me, because of that deep connection that I'm aware of. Obviously I've not experienced it, but that just makes me even more wary of who I do eventually do it with.
Sis,
that shit's deep.
Oh no, it is. It really is. And then they said another thing. Okay, so he said,
but you know,
go on.
Ask me when you finish.
Oh yeah, go on. Just a couple. So then he also said physical attraction wears off, which is true. And what he was basically, the angle he was coming of was that naturally, like, let's say you have like a one night stand or whatever, and you have someone, it's usually because you're attracted to them. But do you actually like them for who they are, or for what you see? Whereas if you're having sex with someone, it's just because the physical it's more lust than like.
100%.
Do you know, are they adding to you? Are you adding to that person? So yeah, there's a few points he mentioned, and I thought actually, whether you're Christian or not, you can relate to that, because biology is biology. Hormones are exchanged whether you like it or not. Connection is going to happen whether you like it or not. So you know, but in terms of people in a relationship, and then Jen, I know you wanted to say something. I would just say, just beware that the institution of sex is great. Whatever God creates is good. Literally, when you go back to Genesis, every single thing God created is good. So sex is great. However, it's great in the context that he created it for.
Yeah.
Because of all the, it's not because he didn't want us to enjoy. That's not the reason why. Like, of course, we're his children. God wants us to enjoy,
Of
but
course.
he knows. We know. I mean, Bianca and I, we can relate on the issues that occur when you do have sex and the complications it brings. All sorts of complications. You know, that's why when people talk of STDs and all of this and all of that, it comes down to sex. And it's just like God sees that and he wants us to avoid that, which is why he created it for right. Bianca, why are you laughing?
Because I literally just mumbled. I have to thank God that never happened to me, like the
Oh,
STD stuff.
oh, girl. I've heard stories. I've heard of people getting herpes,
like, honestly,
all of that.
The Lord in heaven.
Mate, it's not cute. So my thing would just be So my thing would be, whatever works for you, but just bear in mind that there are consequences to every single action we take. There are.
Exactly.
That's
and
what
I think it's well, Jen, actually, Jen, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, you wanted to say something.
It was just gonna go back to the whole abstinence thing. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does being like abstinence from what? Just from having sex or getting involved in sexual activities?
That is such a good question.
Like, what does that actually mean, or does it depend on?
But we can get the definition. If we,
let's do it. I
suppose it is subjective though to the person
and the couple.
You know.
So the practice
and the person.
Okay, so it's actually not just sex. It says the practice of restraining oneself from indulging in something, typically alcohol or sex. So abstinence, it can be across the board. If you're not indulging in something specific, you can say I'm abstinent from this or that. But typically when someone's saying that, they're talking about alcohol or sex. So, but I think most conversations that I have with people who are abstinent, who like aren't necessarily like religious in any way, they stay away from sexual activity in general. And I think
all sexual activity.
Yeah, and I think like from conversations I've had, it's more so because if that's what they're trying to do, they're not going to put themselves in a position where they're human beings. They have wants, they have needs. Just what I'm saying. So why intentionally put yourself in? Not to say that it's always going to go right, but like an abstinence doesn't mean you're a virgin either. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't mean that you are like. So some people I know who have been abstinent for like a year and then they have sex and then they abstinent again. It's like, okay, do you know what? I did it. It happened. Let me continue the journey. So I think it's obviously it can be for alcohol as well, but from what I've seen and the times that I have like chosen to be abstinent, I've stayed away from men. Because like that's just the reality. Just stay away from them altogether because it's just the best thing to do. It's just if you choose to be in positions or environments like that, that's good. You have strong will, but I know myself, I don't have strong will. That's just the reality. I do not. A sis is weak,
especially when you're under the influence as well.
Exactly.
All of those combinations are just not good.
Exactly. So I think that abstinent people are, but in general, what you were saying about like having the whole like faith thing and the points that you made from the article, we'll make sure we include the article in our show notes as well, so people can see that. But I think that goes into, again, no matter what you believe, is just being mindful, being wise, and guarding your heart. I think that's really important. So if you are someone who is having sex with your partner, I think, like for me, things have come with age. So in general, whether we're talking about sex or not, even when I'm letting someone into my life on a friendship level or business level, relationship level, I'm a lot more mindful. I'm less quick to be like, oh yeah, come into my space. I want to see what your character is saying first. I want to literally observe. I pay attention to energies and like how you are, your demeanor, like what your heart is saying. And I think that's very important. So whatever your belief is, I think it's really important to take your time with getting to know someone.
Absolutely.
Because there's some crazy people out here. Honestly, there's some people that have, again, there's the basics that we've all experienced in genuine men or in genuine women who just want a certain type of relationship without the commitment. And then there's people who are deeper than that, and you know, they genuinely want to hurt you. Just so I'm saying, like their aim is to hurt and to upset, maybe because they hurt people, whatever it is. But I think it's really, really important to just be mindful, like, and take time to observe people's character. And sometimes, depending on the character, there's been times, I don't know if you guys can relate, where I meet someone and it takes me time to figure them out. And there's some other times where I meet someone else and I feel like I've figured them out like within literally weeks. I'm like, okay, I feel like I know who you are, not fully, but I get your character. I can feel that you're a good person. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think it's just important to take that time to guard your heart and not allow people to have access to you that way. But let's be honest, as women, once you enter the vagina, you have entered the heart. That's just the reality.
You have. That's the reality. That is the reality.
Yeah.
Which is
and that's
why
what I'm scared of, you know. That's actually scary. And I think that's what I'm also scared of as well. Like just being that intimate with someone and then they're gone. Like
that vulnerability that they have.
I don't know how I'll react to that.
It hurts.
It
really
sucks.
hurts.
It's like sometimes I even feel it's worse than physical pain, because physical pain eventually is almost leaving the body. With the emotional pain, you don't know what to do with it. It's a feeling, but it's not a feeling. It's weird. So,
and then you have to just get on someone with your life as normal, but the pain is still there, and you don't really ever forget.
Tears falling down your eyes.
No, not
just dramatic. Just looking out the window. It's just a lot. It's very hurtful. It's hurtful. So I would just say, like, it's really important to guard your heart. And I was mentioning to Sade that a lady on Instagram called Dorothy, I think it's Tamuno now, her last name.
Yes. Did you see it, Jen?
I did, I follow her.
I think it was this past week. She literally posted about how she was a virgin until she got married. And she's 30 now, I think. But she got married at 28. So 28 years, she was a virgin. And I think she started some sort of podcast. I don't know what it is. Let me just
Virginology?
Yes, Virginology,
yeah. So it is Dorothy Tamuno. She is a Christian, but I would definitely say to go to her page. So her name, if you just type in Dorothy Tamuno, Tamuno, on Instagram, you'll find her, because her Instagram has got hella underscores.
Amazing.
So, but she basically posted something, and it's called Virginology, and she's going to be talking about all sorts of things, addressing how it was, you know, how she held out. She did share a story, which I was telling Sade about how when she was younger, she just got fed up. She got fed up, and she was like, this is it. It's about to happen. It's going down. And she tried to book a hotel with someone, everything like that.
Wow, she went that far?
Yeah. Because she said that, like, obviously they both lived with their parents, so it wasn't. And then I think they were going to go to his house, and she just said that, like, God spoke to her and just said,
no.
And now she's even pregnant with her first child with her husband.
Amazing.
So, like, I would definitely say to anyone that is in that space where they are still holding out and they are a virgin, whether you're Christian or not, like, it's just, I would say check it out, because I'm sure she's going to give some perspective that, like, for example, Jennifer can give, but myself and Sade can't, just what I'm saying. So I think we'll definitely get to check her out. But, like, what precautions do you think you guys have taken to guard your heart from even people who, like, in the getting to knowing stages? Because I think sometimes with us women, we give too much away too quickly, even not just our body, but emotionally. We do too much, we talk too much. And so how, I don't know if you guys have been intentional about this, like, as you've gotten older, more intentional. What steps do you take to guard yourself, to guard your heart? Like, Jen,
I don't give much away, to be honest. I think that's kind of how I am as a person. I like to suss someone out.
I can tell as well. The thing is,
I act like, to Daisy, but trust me, I'm watching you and I'm analysing you until I get to the point where I'm comfortable. But I think I've always been like that, and it's worked out in my favor, to be honest. I don't think I've gotten that heartbroken in the past or recently anyways, but like, I think sometimes it's good to reserve a little bit of yourself. Obviously, as you're getting to know the person, you open up more and more, depending on if you trust them. But for me, I don't give everything all away at once.
And that's powerful. My dad always tells me that, like, be a bit mysterious. Don't give everything away. Leave some things open to guessing. Let people discover you. but really want to discover you. Don't just give everything away.
Yeah.
With me, I would say I'm quite an open book.
Same.
If your energy is right, I tend to just kind of talk.
Yeah.
Of course, there are certain aspects of my life I just would keep private anyway, like my family life, whatever. But about me, I kind of just talk and talk and talk, and you know. But of course, the energies have to match. In terms of guarding my heart, I guess it's a case where if I kind of spot something that seems dodgy to me, I may not even say anything. I'll just observe that and be like, okay, that's it. I kind of know that, okay, you've done this dodgy thing. That's it. Like, I'm not gonna, even if you continue talking to me, or whatever, I might respond, but it's not going to be the same because you've made me. If I have to think about anything too deeply or wonder, what does that mean? Then I kind of know, okay, you're not straightforward. So that's already like, So I guess that's me guarding my heart in a way, so that, you know, taking those precautions to kind of know that, okay, you've done something that's a bit of a red flag. So now I kind of know where I stand, and I'm going to slow down, and I'm not going to get carried away.
I think
that's really good.
I haven't necessarily done a great job of doing it, but in the times that I have been successful in guarding my heart, that is what I've done.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
yeah,
I think I'm an oversharer.
What about you, Jen?
I'd have it of oversharing, like, oh, this is my life, and this is this, and this, and that. And I was just like, and then I get on the phone, I'm like, we finished having that conversation. I'm like, Bianca, you literally just told the brother your whole life from A to Z.
Whole life.
Why? Like, literally everything, your birth, listen, your genes, your DNA, your blood type, everything.
Wow.
Told him. But one thing I do now is if I feel the urge, because I feel like it's an urge where I just blurt things out. And I think also it's because I'm quite a conversationalist. So I like
so I was gonna say that.
Emotionally intelligent, like intellectually, I like to really connect with people. So for me, I think a big part of that is I need to feel like, okay, like I'm sharing, you're sharing, we're being able to connect on a certain level. But one thing I do if I feel like it's like gonna vomit it out, is I will go and speak to my friends. And literally, if I'm in that place where I just want to talk a lot or I want to share, I'll go and I'll call one of my girls and we'll have a conversation. And I've noticed that when I do that, I actually feel much better. I feel like,
that's really good. Yeah.
So that's what I definitely do. I just find someone else to talk to. And obviously the conversation will be very different, because if you're getting to know someone, you're going to be sharing things that your friends already know.
Yeah.
There's always things that you're going to be talking about with your girls. So
if
I just feel like I want to connect with someone on an emotional level or intellectual level, I'll call my sister, or I'll call a friend, or I'll call my best friend, and we just talk. And I've noticed that genuinely helps me to not just vomit on him.
No, honestly, I get it. Because sometimes we just want to talk. We just want to release. But actually, the person you're talking to may not be the right person.
Exactly. And then if I'm 100% honest, it's not even a struggle. It's because I think this is just who I am, and I don't think it's a bad thing. Is that one thing that happens to me is if I meet a guy and I really like the connection emotionally and intellectually and spiritually is on like 100, I'm gonna want to share myself with him physically, because I'm like, that's the next thing. I'm saying, like, you're like, you've connected, like you've really connected, and you know that the connection is not just a physical thing, because you've connected to him on every other thing. So I think that's also why I try my best to be more careful, because I feel like if I get a connection with this brother and it's all there, it's curtains for me. So I have to.
This reminds me of the guy just for my 25th birthday that I met through LinkedIn. I've told the story. Met through LinkedIn, whatever. We connected like this. It was so random, so weird, but we really did. He was a pastor's son. He was career driven. We just got each other.
Yeah.
But then he still did me dirty. So it kind of just makes me think, so do connections really mean anything then?
No, it's true. But I think time tells, and sometimes there's no guarantee. But I think
that's the thing. Some people, like I said,
there's some people that you do really connect with instantly, and it turns out that, like, I will say with my partner now, like Joel, we met like 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, and he, I wouldn't say like from the get-go, but definitely very quickly we were able to build an emotional and an intellectual connection. And for me, I hadn't been able to connect with anyone like that ever, even my past exes or anything like that. So for me,
that's how you know.
Like, yeah, and then what I also do is I do my research. Like, I'm gonna ask my friends, the friends that do know him, what does his character say?
Yeah,
I've told you guys that my family, my sister has now met him. What do they feel? What's the vibe they get from him? So all of these different stages, that it's not like I'm vetting him, but I think it's important to.
Oh no, it is.
Do your research.
Yeah, well,
because
as
girls, go on.
We have to.
We
but
have
in a way,
to.
Like, I think there's these stages because sometimes, obviously as women, we are very emotional, and so we have to not just I trust myself and I trust my own instincts, but let me see what this person is saying, or let me see what my sister may be saying, or this person, and see if they feel the same thing, if they get that same vibe.
It's good to get like different perspectives.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So let's do our She's All That, guys.
She's All That.
Okay, so for our new listeners, for those of you that don't know what She's All That is, this is my favorite part of the episode, because this is when we celebrate a woman who is killing it. She could be killing it in her career, business, local community, anything. Either way, she's killing it. So we like to celebrate women because that's what She's in the Pod is all about. So Jen, over to you, girl. Who's our She's All That for this week?
This week, She's All That is Azariah. Now I say this because Azariah, she's from Backchat, London. She's also a singer. She's also a teacher. And she's recently started a group on Clubhouse called 3O. Now, basically,
that was her.
That she's the one that started it, and it's ultimately talking about just life in general, talking about pressures in society, and really like important topics that we can all relate to. And I've absolutely loved her series. I mean, she does it every Monday, and she's really created like a really safe space for people to share their experiences. And it's now become a massive organization, I would say. I think they've got their own Twitter profile now, and it's just beautifully blossomed. And that's why I wanted to kind of shout her out, because she's handled this amazingly. She's a great moderator as well, and absolutely love it. That's one of the things about Clubhouse I love.
Very few like good things on Clubhouse now, pure genuine things, So I think she's definitely deserving of that title. And even her Instagram posts, like how vulnerable and open they are about where she's at. So big shout out to Azariah.
Definitely.
I think she's definitely deserving of
love
that.
It.
Amazing. Nice.
Cool.
Okay, so to continue the episode, we wanted to touch on Precious Have Sex. Now, we did talk about this very briefly in the last episode. But let's not ignore the fact that sex is
guys, hold
everywhere.
on 1 second. Sorry guys, we have to stop because my thing keeps making this noise. I don't know what it is. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of edits in this.
I was going to say Brent is going to have a very...
Sorry, but I don't know what... My laptop keeps making this noise. I don't know what it's doing.
Do you need to restart quickly? Have you saved the previous one and what we...
No, it's still going. It's still going. It's still going. Hold on.
Do you want to just save it? Before you like...
Wait, hold on 2 seconds. It's making... Let me see if it still does it.
Okay.
Okay, I think it's okay. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So let's start from the top of that part because we're going into the next part, are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So thanks for that, Jen. Azariah definitely deserves it. So you are all that, sis.
Shout out to you, girl.
Shout out Azariah. So just to carry on then. So we're gonna just end off with the pressures around having sex. Now let's not ignore the fact.
Or not having sex as well.
Okay.
There's a lot pressures there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, true. So let's not ignore the fact that sex is everywhere. Sex is in our faces. Sex is in our books, our TV shows, adverts, everywhere. So
listen, this Busset challenge, I'm sure the brothers are struggling out here. Okay.
Yeah. I've seen some of the replies to that Busset challenge.
Have you seen
the guys are having a very sore time?
Have you seen the ones where they they get like their man to come up, or they end up being in robes and pajamas. It's so funny.
I reposted one, Mrs. Jadensky. She's so funny. And her husband
came in.
Yeah, husband was like, what? Married woman. It was so funny that he came in the camera like, "Bus what?" It was really funny.
It was funny.
Sex is everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like even the way, you know, women are dressing nowadays is all very sexual. Everything is sex. And we had a young girl who's only 16, and it's crazy that we have really young listeners as well.
Yeah,
which is quite scary, but it's beautiful at the same time.
It's good. It's amazing.
And she was just like, she's always been told, I'm just reading DM, she's like, all I've been told is to not have sex till marriage, and I don't understand why I'm not allowed to speak about it either. Everyone around me is having sex, and I'm the good one because I haven't done anything. So she would like us to kind of cover, which we have a bit. We said why it's important to wait till marriage, and advice for young girls like her, if that's okay. So she's 16, so she's young. She's year 10, year 11.
She's young, but she's not young in the sense that
in the sense of the way the world is moving.
The way that I was going to say, and even like times were different when I was young. But look how young I lost my virginity. I lost it at 13. So imagine now, it's just a very different place. Like these school kids, if they weren't in uniform, I think they're older than me. Like
honestly.
For real. So
absolutely.
they're so advanced, and obviously social media has a lot to do with that. So I think in a sense, she's young, she's a kid, she's a child, but in the sense of the way the world is, in pressuring these young women, especially to look and act a lot older than they are. I think that's a massive part of it. So, I mean, obviously we can all give her advice. I would probably say it's hard to conceptualize it now and to process it now. But when you're younger, you really think you're grown, and you are not. Like it's just a thing that we have when we're like, when we was in school, we felt we were grown, like especially when like you're in your 11 or 6 form, it's like we grow, like and you're not. And there's so many more things that will come with age. There's so many more things that will like come with experience and age. And at that age, as much as life is not perfect, and I'm sure there's things that you've been through, I think it's important to know that you're going to be your better judgment when it comes to having sex and choosing your right life partners when you get older and experience life a bit more, when you experience different types of people, different types of characters outside of school, outside of college, but actually in the real world, people who are not just teenagers. So I think that's a really important thing to deal with, like the process. Another thing in regards to like your surroundings, in regards to like people, peers who are pressuring you, is that I don't mean to say this in a way, I don't know how this will get taken, but a lot of people who made the decision to have sex at a young age will look back now and they feel like, what was that for? Like it really was.
Feels like
I was acting like a mad girl or a madman, and so
Mm.
It could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. So I think that it's really important to, you have to think forward and think to your future. And it's hard when you're that age because you're just in your own world. Like you're trying to enjoy. And honestly, like school and those years were the best years of my life. Like generally, it was just carefree, enjoyment, laughter. But still, you have to think forward. There are, like Sade says, there are, like, it's a domino effect. Life is domino effect. For every action, there is a reaction, whether good or bad, whether positive or negative. So try to think forward. Even if you can't think 5 or 10 years ahead, try and think 2 or 3 years ahead. Where is this decision that I'm making now gonna have me? And I saw this tweet today, which is actually really relevant. And it was basically saying, like, ladies, people don't know, they underestimate how getting with the wrong guy can literally change the trajectory of your life. Like, messing with the wrong person can do that.
My mum says one of the most, so you know that there's different decisions, choices we make. One of the most powerful decisions is who you marry. I think that this university you go to and something else, but who you marry, who you choose to date is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. It can literally either make you or break you, and I've seen both. I'll leave it there.
No, that's great.
But great. It's real. It's real.
I think so. What I guess my advice, I'm trying to think, because I was, that 16-year-old girl, and even at 25, not that someone's necessarily putting pressure on me, but I do feel it. And I think what's really helped, and what I think would be helpful, is also looking at people who have waited, and just seeing like how they're kind of living, and their sort of values, and why, looking at the reasons why. So I looked at people like Tamara Mowry from Sister Sister, Angela Simmons, Yvonne Orji, who either have all waited or are still waiting until, a later age. And for me, it's like, as much as people kept telling me, oh yeah, look forward, think about the future, it's like, sometimes it's really hard, because like you said, Bianca, you're in your own bubble when you're so young, or even now, like I'm 25. Sometimes I can be in my bubble. I'm like, I mean, if only I could do this, like I would belong, or, that kind of feeling. But actually, when I hear stories from people who have waited, like Dorothy, or who, are in similar positions as me, I find it a bit more helpful, because I can relate to them more. So I would also try and do my own research, and again, surround yourself with people who maybe aren't actively having sex, which can be hard depending on how your friendship group is set up. But try and be proactive in that sense, and look outwards, look and to seek out more information, and relate to people who are in a similar position at you. And that way, I feel like you might feel a little bit of peace of knowing that you're not alone, you're not a weirdo, and it's totally fine.
And it's actually, I really like the fact, Jen, that you mentioned those ladies that waited, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. Sometimes we think, oh, it's only like weirdos that wait. Oh, maybe if I wait, I'm weird. No, these are perfectly.
Or what's wrong with me?
Beautiful.
Like, am I
exactly
dysfunctional or something?
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I think that a lot of women are actually, there are some women, let's say a lot, there are some women who actually want to try out, whether they have faith or not, they want to try out being abstinent, but they're scared that they're going to end up lonely, like that they're going to actually meet a guy, and the guy that they're going to like the guy, and then it's like, the guy's like, I'm not willing to wait. But I remember we actually posted something on our Instagram page of Yvonne Orji saying like, if it matters to me and it's important to me, basically paraphrasing, if you care about me and this is important to me, then you're gonna care about it too.
Yeah.
And so definitely. I think that's important. Like, don't feel like, oh, if I keep someone waiting, they're eventually gonna leave me. And girl,
they're not for you. And it comes 100%. Down to values and principles. At the moment, I'm doing life coaching, and that's one of the fundamentals of the sessions we have. My coach is always telling me, what are your values and what are your principles? A lot of us don't have values and principles. If someone was to ask you now, what are your principles in life? What values do you live by? A lot of us don't actually have any. So that's really important for us to have. So, to the girl that sent us the DM, and to the other ladies that reached out to us, because a lot of us reached out to us on the back of the episode. Set some values for yourself, create some values. What are you not willing to compromise on, and why? You've got to know your why, because then that will help you to stand firm when it gets tough, because it will get tough. It will get tough. If you don't know why you're doing something, go on, Bianca.
I was going to say, to the women, I think to the women who are sexually active and do, whether you have a partner or not, I think my advice on that, because we've spoken about guarding your heart and stuff like that, I think my advice would be to make sure that whoever you're connecting with physically, you're connecting on them on a level, other levels than just the physical level. Because I think, like, I've there's so many stories out there, and where I hear, people have sex before marriage, or whether they're of faith. Some people are Christian, some people are not Christian. And I look at their marriages and their relationships, and I'm like, there are elements of that to me, I'd love to have in my relationship. I mean, whether it's the way they communicate, how strong the communication is, or how they connect on certain levels. So I think if you're a part of that, where you are sexually active, I think it's just really important to make sure that you are connected with those people, the people that you're sharing yourself with physically, on a level that's just not physical, that is emotional, that's spiritual, that's intellectual, because that is the most important thing. Like Sade said, like, looks eventually, as much as we're young now, we'll have these looks for hopefully 20, 30 years or 40 years, eventually it's going to fade out.
Away.
They fade away. And sometimes not even guaranteed. Like sometimes, God forbid, but certain things happen where we don't look the same. Do you know what I'm saying? Like certain things happen where some people I know, you know, things happen, like horrible or tragic things happen. And they don't look the same way, or, you know, certain body parts don't work anymore. So you just never know. Nothing is guaranteed. So I think based on that, you have to focus on building a connection with someone that is it's literally not that if I never touch you again, I can still be with you, I can still live with you, I can still be your life partner. And I think that's the most important thing, because those are the things that help you to make decisions together and to build a unit and to build a family. It's those connections, it's that level of communication that was not the sex. It really doesn't.
Sex is a bonus. It really is.
It's a bonus. I mean, it's a great bonus.
Great bonus.
But it's a great bonus, but it's not the be all the end all, because all of that, if you have a toxic relationship and a toxic way of communicating and you know, connecting, but you're having sex, that's just the most unhealthy environment ever. And that's what we're saying about people being stigmatized. That's what it is, when we are literally just having good sex and then everything else is toxic. And our characters, who we are, the very essence of who we are, is literally being torn apart because we're in that toxic relationship just for a good few minutes, if they last that long. Sorry to say
Bianca,
that.
you're preaching.
Well, I'm just saying.
Just had to slip.
I hear it.
But it's true.
Yeah,
so
no, it's true.
I think that's important. But
Bianca, that's beautiful. Yes,
this has been a really,
yes, it
really
has. And before we round up, I just want to share 2 scriptures that my mentor shared with me when I asked her. You know me, I love my scriptures. So the first one was 1 Peter 5, the Message version. So it says, keep a cool head, stay alert. The devil is poised to pounce and would like nothing better than to catch you napping. Keep your guard up. You're not the only ones plunged into these hard times. It's the same with Christians all over the world. So keep a firm grip on the faith. The suffering won't last forever. It won't be long before this generous God who has plans for us in Christ, eternal and glorious plans they are, will have you put together and on your feet for good. He gets the last word. Yes, he does. So it's really just encouraging. You know, I don't know if you're all Christians, but even if you're not, you know, this is just an encouragement to know that what you're going through is not going to last forever. You know, it seems difficult now, it seems tedious now, and it seems like everyone is doing it. But Jen has given us perfect examples of the fact that it's not.
And look, I'm fine.
Exactly. Oh yeah, exactly. And Jen is a living example herself, literally. And then the other one, the second and last one, is in Songs of Solomon 3 verse 5, which says, do not arouse or awaken love until the time is right. And I love that.
I think I just want to add
on to keep that one
to Sade, because I think it's really important for especially those of faith, because she did say like the scriptures and stuff like that. I think it's important to know that everyone's journey is different. Everyone's journey, and so if you, and even to that young lady, I think it's important that you know that your path will never be the same as your friends. Do not compare your path to their path. Everyone's life is different, so the way that
everyone's heart is different.
Exactly. So I think it'd be really important to just add on to this scripture for those who do believe in being abstinent and waiting until marriage, and they feel like they are in a place that they're struggling or they have slipped up in context a few times. Romans 8 says, there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of the life in Christ Jesus have made me free from the law of sin and death. So I think that's a really important
love that,
like, what we're talking about, like, not, if that's what you believe, like not walking around in shame, because whatever it has done, God has actually already forgiven you. Like, so
don't do what I did. Don't be paranoid thinking, all these men are going to think I'm a hoe.
Exactly. So no matter what, at the end of the day, the only person whose opinion, not the only person, but the one whose opinion matters the most of you is God. And that's the most important thing. So that's how we end it, guys.
I love that.
I have enjoyed this It's
This is fun.
It was.
It was
very
good.
much, it was very much
And
needed as well.
If you guys have any like DMs, if you guys want to DM us, honestly,
keep them coming.
Like,
please do.
Honestly, we do read out our DMs, but all of it stays anonymous. Every now and again, if it's relevant to the topic, we will read them out. But nobody gonna know it's you, girl. So just DM us, and whoever can relate out of the three of us to what that person's saying the most, we'll respond.
And thanks for trusting us, ladies, as well. Like, thanks
because
a lot
it's
of
not
you,
easy.
Honestly, a lot of you've told us some very personal things, and it's really beautiful that you trust us. So thank you.
Yeah, honestly, and we're trying to. That's why with each episode we are more and more intentional about actually literally being a safe space for millennial women. Like that's it.
This is it. That's our motto.
And if we feel like we're in a place to give you the advice, we will direct you to someone who we feel can. That's just simple. So we're big sisters, CAP sisters in the house.
CAP for life.
The world.
Charlie, can you do that? Can you do it?
It's longer now.
I heard the vibrato.
Join us back next week. We'll be here next week for another episode of She's in a Pod. Make sure follow us.
You subscribe and follow us and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, baby. Thank you.
Follow us on social media.
Download our episodes, so you can have them on the go.
And also comment as well. Comment as well. I mean, we're on YouTube. We've been on YouTube for a while now, so make sure you put all your views in the comments too, so we can see what you're talking about and we can have a conversation.
Okay. Thank you so much, ladies. And we'll see you same time next week.
Yep. Bye.